Global Times. Yesterday was the first day of Thailand's temporary visa-free program for Chinese tourists. Can you share more details? The Thai government announced a 5-month visa-free entry program for Chinese tourists starting on September the 25th. Yesterday, the first group of Chinese tourists under the new visa-free policy arrived in Thailand. Thai Prime Minister and other government officials greeted them at the airport. China welcomes Thailand's short-term visa exemption policy for Chinese tourists and appreciates the welcome extended by Prime Minister Shreta to our fellow Chinese. China and Thailand are close friends and neighbors, and a community of shared future. To have more people-to-people exchange is absolutely essential for strengthening the traditional familial bond between our two countries, an important part of building a China-Thailand community with a shared future in the new era. We stand ready to work with Thailand to expand cooperation in tourism, education, culture, and other areas to further enhance the close ties between our two peoples. Since early this year, there has been a surge in outbound trips by Chinese tourists. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs has come up with better visa and related policies, launched a series of facilitation measures in collaboration with other government agencies, and given guidance to our diplomatic and consular missions overseas to do everything possible to keep channels open and smooth for foreigners' travel to China. We welcome more foreigners to come to China to see this country as tourists and other types of visitors. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。总台央视记者提问：发言人能否进一步的介绍一下第3届“一带一路”国际？
Could you update us on the preparations for the third BRF? How many countries have confirmed their attendance? Preparations for the third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation are making steady progress. As of today, representatives from more than 130 countries as well as many international organizations have confirmed that they will attend the forum. China will stay in communication with Belt and Road Cooperation partners on the preparations for the forum. Next question, please.
Thank you. Question from AFP. Chinese state media reported yesterday that North Korea has reopened its borders to foreign visitors. Does the Chinese Foreign Ministry have any more information on this situation? Thank you.
China has been notified by the DPRK on the opening of its borders through diplomatic channels. Next one, please.
Good afternoon, Prensa Latina. We would like to know your opinion about the terrorist attack against the Cuban embassy in the United States. Thank you.
China condemns all forms of violence against diplomatic missions. According to the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, the host country has the obligation to adopt necessary measures to protect the security of diplomatic personnel and their premises. We urge the U.S. to find out what happened and solve the case as soon as possible and adopt effective measures to safeguard the security of diplomatic institutions and personnel. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。东方卫视记者提问。那么我们关注到有报道称，26日中美洲议会全会。
According to reports on September 26, a plenary meeting of the Central American Parliament approved a special agreement on the accession of the NPC of China as a permanent observer. What's your comment? On September 26, a plenary meeting of the Central American Parliament approved with strong support a special agreement on the accession of the NPC of China as a permanent observer. The plenary meeting also approved with strong support in the August plenary meeting minutes, which contains the resolution to revoke the permanent observer status of the so-called Legislative Yuan of the Taiwan region, accept NPC as a permanent member. Permanent observer. We highly commend this. It reflects the Central American Parliament's firm resolve to develop ties with China and again shows that the One China principle represents the prevailing consensus of the international community and unstoppable trend of the times. China stands ready to further develop and consolidate friendly cooperative ties with the Central American Parliament and Central American countries on the basis of One China principle. Next one, please.
A question from Reuters. United States Space Force has had internal discussions discussions about setting up a hotline with China to prevent crises in space. Reuters has reported this. The U.S. Chief of Space Operations said a direct line of communication between the U.S. Space Force and its Chinese counterpart would be valuable in de-escalating tensions. But as of today, the U.S. has not engaged with China to set this up. Does the ministry have any comment on this, and would China be open to this hotline? Thank you.
I'd refer you to competent department on your question. Here I want to say again that the reason why the two militaries face difficulties is very clear, and the U.S. is very clear about this. Next one, please.
My question is about the negotiations with Sri Lanka on the debt issue. Is China close to agreeing terms on the bilateral debt restructuring with Sri Lanka? And if so, do you have any details on how this might look, or any idea about when this might be announced? Thank you.
我的问题是关于与斯里兰卡的债务的谈判，中方与斯方是否就重组其债务达成了双边协议？如果已经达成了协议，中方什么时候将公布这个协议的细节？
我愿意。Re-emphasize that China supports domestic financial institutions to negotiate the settlement agreement with Sri Lanka, and we would like to work with all sides to address the difficulties of Sri Lanka and play a positive role in realizing sustainable development in the country. Next one, please.
发言人好，总台央视华语中心记者。今天上午，国务院新闻办。
CCTV, the State Council Information Office released a white paper titled The Global Community of Shared Future, China's Proposals and Actions. Could you share China's consideration? 10 years ago, President Xi Jinping propounded the idea of building a global community of shared future. The State Council Information Office released the white paper, A Global Community of Shared Future, China's Proposals and Actions this morning. A member of the Political Bureau of the CPC Central Committee and Foreign Minister Wang Yi attended the press conference. He pointed out that the white paper is an important document that systematically introduces the theoretical base, practice and development of a global community of shared future, and an important step in implementing Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era and Xi Jinping thought on diplomacy. It is hoped that the white paper will be of assistance for people in all sectors and the international community to have a deeper understanding of the far-reaching significance of building a global community of shared future and major country diplomacy with Chinese characteristics. I want to stress the following. First, building a global community of shared future is consistent with the prevailing trend of history, answers to the call of times, and can create the greatest synergy for building a better world. As such, it has become a great banner that leads the trend of the times and the direction of human progress. It is of great significance to promote solidarity and cooperation among all countries and create a better future for humanity. Second, under the personal planning and efforts of President Xi Jinping, the vision of building a global community of shared future has been translated into actions which has grown stronger and produced remarkable outcomes, contributing enormously to prosperity and stability of the world and creating tangible benefits for the people. Third, China is a champion as well as a doer. We have made active efforts to promote high-quality Belt and Road cooperation, proposed and delivered on the Global Development Initiative, is not accomplished overnight. All countries need to unite in pursuing the cause of common good and building a beautiful whole. China stands ready in solidarity and cooperation with other countries in the world, work together to play a bigger role in advancing human progress and modernization process, and jointly build an open, inclusive, clean, and beautiful world that enjoys lasting peace, universal security, and common prosperity. Next question, please.
Another question from AFP. The Philippines Coast Guard said yesterday that it had removed a floating barrier at a disputed reef in the South China Sea. This barrier was apparently placed accessing a traditional fishing zone. Does the Foreign Ministry comment on this?
法新社记者提问：菲律宾昨天表示，他们的一个浮动的障碍，这个浮动的障碍。
Ministry of China have any comment on this?
法新社记者提问：菲律宾方面昨天表示，他们已经将南海的一个浮动的障碍移除了。这个浮动的障碍旨在阻止菲方进入他们的传统渔场。中方对此有何评论？
菲方所谓
The so-called statement is what the Philippines tells itself. China's resolve in safeguarding its sovereignty and maritime rights and interests over Huangyandao is unwavering, and we advise the Philippines not to make provocations or seek troubles. Next one, please.
还有其他的问题吗？
Anything else?
Another question from Reuters. The heads of Russian energy firms Gazprom and Rosneft will join President Vladimir Putin's retinue during his visit to China next month, according to a Reuters report. It was understood that senior energy officials would also be in the delegation. Could we confirm that the Gazprom and Rosneft chiefs will be visiting China together with President Putin? And if so, when will the visit be, and will all of them be attending the BRI forum? Thank you.
The third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation will be held next month. China and our BRI partners are in close communication on this. We welcome partners engaged in Belt and Road cooperation to come to Beijing, explore more opportunities for cooperation and achieve development together. Next one, please.
Thank you, AFP again. China, South Korea, and Japan are reportedly holding a diplomatic meeting today to discuss a possible three-way summit between the countries' leaders. Do you have any information on today's meeting or on the progress of plans for a three-way leaders summit? Thank you.
Today, the senior official meeting is being held in Seoul. South Korean Deputy Foreign Minister Chung Byung-eun, Japanese Senior Deputy Foreign Minister, and the Secretary General Lee, as well as Nong Rong, Assistant Minister of Foreign Affairs, participated in the meeting. They all agreed that the trilateral cooperation serves the interests of the three parties, and they agreed to enhance cooperation in practical cooperations in areas such as sustainable development, cultural exchanges, and scientific innovation and sustainable development. The three sides agreed to hold the foreign ministers meeting in the following several months and be in communication with each other on holding the leaders meeting in due course and in a convenient time. And Foreign Minister ROK also met with the representatives from the three countries. Anything else? I just now give you information on the senior officials meeting. The three sides agreed to hold foreign ministers meeting in the next few months and be in communication on holding a leaders meeting as soon as possible when the three countries are in convenient time. Anything else?
The International Energy Agency said today that it has revised its assessments for reducing carbon emissions in order to achieve Paris climate goals. They said that wealthy countries must now reach carbon neutrality by 2045, which is 5 years earlier than they said previously, while China must reach carbon neutrality by 2050, which is 10 years earlier than they said previously. Meanwhile, China's own target for achieving carbon neutrality remains 2060. Did the Chinese Foreign Ministry notice this report, and does it have any comments on when China aims to achieve carbon neutrality? Thank you.
法新社记者， 据称有一个报道，它调整了关于巴黎协定中关于气候变化协定中关于什么时候达到碳中和的时间点。他表示，富裕的国家将比之前预计的时间提前5年达到碳中和，而中国将于2050年，也就是比预计的时间提前10年达到碳中和。而中国现在的国家的目标还是在2060年达到碳中和。那么中方是否注意到了这个报告？中方是否会调整它的目标？
中国是生态文。
China is a doer in protecting the environment and addressing climate change. We've shouldered our responsibilities in this area, and as in endeavor, we have been expanding our efforts in protecting the environment. Since 2019, China has announced our dual objectives, that is the carbon neutrality and carbon peaking. We have rolled out a series of policies and measures, including setting up coal-fired power plants overseas, etc. We know that efforts needs to be made in this regard, and I want to re-emphasize that China's resolve in addressing this problem has been recognized by the world and applauded by the international community.
One more question from Reuters. You mentioned that the BRI Forum preparations are underway. Could we know which dates will the BRI Forum be held next month? Thank you.
We will release information in due course.
还有其他的问题吗？
Anything else?
没有的话，今天的记者会到此。
That's the end of today's press briefing. Thank you.